Imagine if we could capture the raw, awe-inspiring power of a thunderstorm and store it for later use. It's kind of mind-boggling, right? Just think about it. Lightning bolts that we see during thunderstorms are immensely powerful, with a single bolt carrying up to 5 billion joules of energy. That's enough to keep a household running for days, even weeks. If we could harness and store this energy, it could be an amazing source of renewable power. But there's a reason why we're not already doing this on a large scale. It's really complicated. The biggest hurdle is that lightning strikes are incredibly brief. They last for a fraction of a second and deliver an intense surge of power that's difficult to capture and store without damaging equipment. But that hasn't stopped scientists and engineers from trying to figure out ways to do it. Let's dive into some of the most promising ideas and see how close we are to actually making this possible. One idea is to capture the lightning directly and store it in something called a capacitor. Capacitors are a bit different from the batteries we usually think of. While batteries store energy for long periods, capacitors are better at handling quick bursts of energy, making them a more suitable option for lightning. Imagine you have a supersized capacitor that could instantly grab the energy from a lightning bolt and then release it slowly. However, it's not that simple. The capacitor would need to be incredibly durable to withstand the intense energy of a lightning strike, and we would need to make it large enough to capture and hold a meaningful amount of energy. Building such a powerful and long-lasting capacitor would be extremely costly, and it would require advancements in material science that we're just not there with yet. Another approach is to use a different kind of storage system that utilizes magnetic fields known as Superconducting Magnetic Energy Storage, or SMES. In theory, these systems could absorb energy from lightning by converting it into a magnetic field. SMS devices work particularly well at super low temperatures, close to absolute zero, which lets them store energy with minimal resistance. But this is where things get tricky. Superconductors are difficult to keep at the right temperature, and they're expensive to build and maintain. It's not exactly practical yet, but with advancements in materials and superconducting technology, we might one day make it work. Some researchers are exploring an indirect method which involves turning the lightning's energy into heat and then storing that heat. When lightning strikes, it generates massive amounts of heat, about 30,000 Kelvin, or 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This heat could theoretically be captured by a metal structure, which would transfer it into a thermal storage system like molten salt. This molten salt could then gradually release the heat, and we could use it to generate electricity. But as exciting as it sounds, the challenge lies in efficiently capturing that heat without letting it dissipate too quickly, as well as managing any energy losses that happen when converting the stored heat back into electricity. Heat storage systems also aren't super efficient, so while the idea is cool, it doesn't capture all the energy from a strike. There's also a concept that tries to harness the energy in storm clouds even before a lightning strike occurs through a process called ionization. Imagine a field full of specialized structures that draw electricity directly from the electrically charged air in thunderclouds. By capturing the charged particles in the air, we could generate a more consistent stream of electricity. This isn't capturing a lightning strike directly, but it is about gathering the atmospheric energy surrounding it. However, this approach requires a massive infrastructure to be feasible, and the energy gathered this way is spread out and hard to collect in large amounts. An additional idea scientists have is to use high-frequency pulse converters, which would convert the intense bursts of energy from a lightning strike into a more manageable form. Think of it like a surge protector on a massive scale, where the pulse converters would smooth out the energy and store it in a format we can use later. Unfortunately, today's technology isn't advanced enough to handle these extreme bursts reliably. These pulse converters need to be both incredibly fast and resilient, able to handle intense electrical currents without burning out or exploding. While it's a promising direction, there's still a lot of work to be done before this could become a reality. In essence, while storing thunderstorm energy is currently more of a dream than a reality, scientists are working hard to develop ways to make it possible. Whether through massive capacitors, superconducting magnetic fields, or indirect methods like thermal storage or ionization, there's definitely a lot of exploration happening in this field. Each of these methods has unique benefits and challenges, and while no one approach is ready to power our cities from thunderstorms just yet, it's inspiring to think about the possibilities. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll have the technology to capture and use this natural phenomenon in ways that could change how we power the world.